Welcome to the Cash, Culture, and Violence edition of the Skate Sessions podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill, and I'll be at a fun and safe 4th of July weekend. It has been insanely hot lately. And on today's episode, we got more shoe news, skate spot news, and firings to talk about. And we do have a bit of a political thing we got to talk about. When I started this podcast, I was hoping I'd never have to go over any political bullshit, but unfortunately, since it ties into skateboarding, we have to. Our first piece of news is Chris Jocelyn is now in lakai footwear. I think it is kind of a random fit, but I'm glad that he decided to stick with an actual skate company instead of being a corporate shithead sellout, so I hope things work out for him in lakai. Also in lakai news, lakai has bought skate shop chain Tactic Skate Shop. I'm guessing they were in debt and lakai decided to buy them, but let's keep in mind that even though one part of lakai ownership has a skater, the majority of lakai is owned by non-skater shitheads. So we have to see what happens with Tactics. Also, in shoe news, the Adidas website got hacked. I'm not too shocked since there has been a lot of data breaches as of late, and Adidas is the current victim. Hopefully, those customers will be okay. This is why I don't do PayPal, companies like that, because security on websites where these fake ass banks fucking suck. And if you get your identity stolen, it takes a minimum of 10 years to get it back and thousands of dollars. And in more shoe news, Eddie's has officially gotten a semi-new team as Fabiano Delfino and Andy Anderson are back under new contracts, and the other team members are Barney Page, Julian Lewis, Nick Garcia, and Joseph Jetta. In Santa Cruz news, they have fired longtime brand manager Andrew Cannon. As you probably know, Andrew is from here on the East Coast over in Pennsylvania, and I got the pleasure to meet him once, and he is a very nice dude. Not only kills it, but is a damn good brand manager as well. So Santa Cruz totally fucked up on this one, let me tell you. But it's a sign of the times that I knew he would bounce back on his feet and get an even better job. Now for skate spot news. The Brooklyn banks are finally fucking back open. Shout out to Steve from Fibro Skateboards and everyone else who finally got it done. I know people are super excited to be able to finally skate it again. I'd love to skate it myself someday. Now, for the last part, skate news, it will get political, so if you don't want to hear it, then this would be the time to turn this off. And if you decide to turn it off, then I get it, and thank you for listening up to this point, and have a great week, and I'll see you on the next episode. But if you want to continue listening, then thank you. In other team news, Taylor Silverman, who is known as the controversial figure who lost a skateboard contest to a trans skater, has randomly decided to leave Timpo's aboard his skateboards, which is a Republican-owned company from West Virginia. This would be very fucking interesting to see who picks her up for sponsorship, if someone does. Everyone should know who she is at this point, but if you don't, I'll give you a quick review. Taylor Silverman is a Republican skater from Michigan who a few years ago entered a contest and got beat by a trans skater named Lillian Gallagher. As Lillian, the trans skater, got first place and Taylor got second place, and Taylor felt she deserved to have won the contest, and also felt that Lillian took money away from the biological women in the contest. And after that went on to speak out against trans skaters and trans athletes, and her motto is the skater who spoke out. And just like Riley Gaines, Taylor has gone on news channels and has done a tour to speak out against the trans community. It says only biological women should compete in women's sports, and that trans people should not be allowed to compete against biological women. And needless to say, some people have came out and supported her, and some have called her a transphobe, so it's a mixed bag. And she has gone on record and said she isn't a transphobe, and obviously I don't know her, although she has come to my area several times, so who knows. And her social media has also came under attack due to the fact she is Jewish and wears a necklace with the Star of David on it due to her Jewish heritage. And they are currently fighting against Palestine, and for me, I don't think it's fair for her to be lambasted because of her heritage. It shows how ignorant motherfuckers are on the internet. She has no control on what happens in that country's government. And I'm not going to go into that whole mess because this is a skateboarding podcast and not a political podcast. However, I will say this. Turn off NBC, turn off CNN, turn off Fox, and turn off any and all news channels, because at the end of the day, it is all propaganda, and the whole point of it is to brainwash you just like religion. So go out and touch grass and come back to reality. I'm also just going to throw this out there because fuck it. If you are one of the ones who are on social media saying free Palestine and shit like that, then get the fuck off social media and get the fuck off your ass and join the military and ask them to station you to the Middle East if you seriously want to make a difference over there. Because let me tell you, no government on this fucking planet gives a fuck what you have to say on social media, and it does nothing. So go join the military or a humanitarian aid company and actually physically help instead of whining on social media. It's like religious people who say, I'll pray for you, and it's basically a cop-out of actually doing anything physically. But the Jews and Arabs have been fighting since the beginning of time, and you as a social media user would not be ending that war. bad for me. I feel bad for the citizens of both because they both ultimately lose because the governments want to have a pissing contest. And we as skaters are supposed to be a fucking family and support others regardless of background and not be divisive. I'll end that discussion here. It was also announced that the legendary LA Bank's quarter pipe got destroyed by the stupid bitch ass LA Democrat protesters. And I have this to say, if you are one of the leftist nutjobs who destroyed it, then fuck you, you piece of shit. You're an absolute disgrace to humans and you need to be arrested as soon as possible. There was never any reason to go around town and destroy property, especially if you aren't even from this country. And you may say, well, how do you know it was Democrats who did it? Because it was the video on X showing it and it was only the dumbass leftists who were protesting that day. And also, for the record, I'm fine with protests since I'm a longtime punk rocker, so anti-authority protests are no more than fine with me. And if you want to beat up the ICE agents, then go ahead and be my guest because it's a government institution and we all know they would do their best to overstep the boundaries. And it is your duty not only as an American but as a fellow human being to help those in need. And if you want to destroy government buildings and corporate stores, then great, go fucking do it. Let's smash the state. But once you start destroying private property and shit that people work their ass off like mom and pop stores, then we got an issue because if one of us Americans did that in another country, we would more than likely be executed on sight. You should be thankful you are even in this country. For the record, I've been a long-time anarchist and I don't side with Democrats or Republicans. And I'm not saying I'm an anarchist to be cute or edgy. I've paid my dues and earned my stripes. And I've been an anarchist going back to the 90s. Skateboarders are supposed to be against all authority, which makes me say once again, why the fuck do we have Democrat and Republican skateboard companies? And just because you don't like who is in office doesn't mean you go into another country and tear shit up. Act like you have some fucking manners. But clearly you have done and your parents didn't do a proper job of bringing you up. For me, I don't give a fuck if you're legal or illegal when you come into the country. But if you're going to come to a foreign land, then be a supporter of the country and earn your keep. Because once you start being an asshole, then you gotta fucking go. And by U.S. law, it is a felony to cross into the U.S. illegally. And I know that leftists hate facts, but this is a fact whether you like it or not. And you may be one of the types who say no one is illegal. Well, under country's laws, if you are not a citizen of a certain country, then you are illegal. And if you want to come here and contribute, then great, we would love to have you. I currently have a lot of illegals in my neighborhood, but they're all very nice people and I have nothing bad to say about them. But the fact is, how the hell can you not take a citizenship test when you've been here for 20 plus years? It makes no fucking sense. In some cases, filing for U.S. citizenship is free if you fit the requirements, but normally it costs around $800. But as I said, it can be waived if you meet the proper requirements. And whether you know it or not, California and Texas are the biggest fucking laughingstocks of this whole country. The main problem is that because the illegals come into the country, they don't go through a background check, and unfortunately the gang members, rapists, molesters, and criminals ruin it for the good illegals that want to come into the country and be a good part of society, which I feel for the good ones who just want to earn an honest living and be a contributing member of society. Also, if you are a Bernie Sanders supporter, you can fuck off too because he is a sheep in wolf's clothing. He is part of the fucking problem that you dumb motherfuckers out there complain about. He is a multimillionaire and worst of all, he's a fucking socialist, which is the worst part. And since you probably need a fucking history lesson, no point in time on this planet has socialism ever fucking worked. There is a reason it has failed time and time again. And if you think for one fucking second Bernie Sanders is going to give you any bit of his millions, then you are delusional as fuck. And he has 3 fucking houses, and I can promise you he won't share those with you either. So you need to get off his shriveled up dick and stop supporting him. And if you identify as a socialist or communist, then you need to fuck straight off. He is just like every other political shithead out there, and you need to, in general, stop fucking supporting politicians like they are fucking celebrities. They don't give a fuck about you or me or society. They only care about themselves like the majority of the rest of society. I highly suggest instead of worrying about who is working in D.C., worry about your own community and hold community cleanups to clean up your neighborhood or plant a tree or fix a pothole. And only worry about things you can control. Also, Obama deported over 5 million illegals, so why aren't you bitching about that? Yeah, that's what I thought. And in the immortal words of my favorite band, Rancid, this is the place where everyone can belong. And this is the end of my podcast for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Be sure to drink lots of water and stay hydrated. I'm hoping I'll be back with another episode, but I feel I'll probably end up on the government's watch list after this. Take care if you don't hear from me again. Be sure to like this video and subscribe and tell your friends.